Hello guys. My name is Ahmed. In today's section, we'll be looking at the data migration from SQL Server to on-prem to Dataverse using Azure Data Factory. The Azure Data Factory is not a new concept, but how can we leverage on that to move our data across the from the on-prem to the Dataverse? And also we also look at the concept of the self-hosted runtime Azure integration runtime service as well. So let's take a look. So the first thing to do we're gonna do is to create Azure Data Factory. And here, as you can see my screen here. So here, this is my resource group name, and here I'm gonna select create. And inside here, I'm going to look for Azure Data Factory, and here click on that, and here click on create. So I have already created a resource group for that. I'm going to select this one, and here I can give it a name. Okay, and here I'm going to select the region. I want this to provision cities that matter actually, and so then click on next, click on create, then select create. So that's gonna take maybe sometimes to. Okay, this is quite quick. Then after that, I'm gonna go into the resource. Then I'm going to launch my Azure Data Factory Studio. So the most interesting thing is that you can be able to, give it that kind of flexibility to integrate easily with your SQL server as well. So here, so now we are now in the studio, in the Azure Data Factory Studio. And if I click to expand this, I'm going to see where to actually start from. So here I'm going to click on the manage here. So before I start going into this, right? So if the first thing I want you to check is that here you have the SQL Server on-prem, right? So we have the student data and this is what we're actually trying to bring over to the Dataverse, right? So here I'm gonna minimize this now. So here the first thing to do here is to create a link service. So the link service enable you to integrate to connect to your on-prem server, SQL server, or to your data source, and also Dataverse as well, right? So if I click on link service here, so this is going to show me the different source, or where I can link to where the data is seated, right? Or where the data is going as well, you know. So the source and destination, what I mean. So here, the first thing I'm going to do is to go into SQL Server. And if I click on that, because our SQL Server is on-prem. So if I click on continue here. So now, before I continue here, there's something I wanted to bring into your notice here first, right? So, this is very important to actually understand here, right? So, like we explained earlier on, for the runtime for the Azure any runtime, integration runtime service, right? We want to create our own. So when we talk about the integration runtime service, is It's a runtime. Is the compute infrastructure that Azure Data Factory used to provide data integration capabilities across different network environment. And here, so the auto resolve integrations are, so this is automatically provided when you provision the Azure Data Factory environment itself, right? So now with this Azure, this specifically is and now that we are connecting to the SQL Server. Actually, we need to create our own integration runtime, so which will enable us, especially if you are running a private network, if your SQL Server is provided by a private network, and we're going to use a self-hosted integration runtime. So the self-hosted integration runtimes copy all those data between a cloud data and also the data that is stored in a private network, right? So, and this is what we're going to uh, use during this in this demo. So we're going to click on create new, and here, so this is what we were talking about, right? So the self-hosted allows you to connect to your private network, and also you need a an on-premise machine or virtual machine inside your private network as well to enable you to connect uh, to your network as well. So here I'm going to select on self-hosted and click on continue. Here I'm going to give it a name. On time SQL. Okay, let's put it that way. Click on create. Now, there are two options here to select, right? So, and we have the option one, the Express setup, which you can easily click and then download. And so you can run this and automatically everything is set for you. But you can also download this and install it manually. We can where you can insert your your access key to the, but we're going to go with option one first, right? So if I click on this, it is going to download, and here I'm going to run, click on run. And here so here it's going to take a little while to get installed, and now it's installing, so I'm gonna wait for a while and I come back. So we'll get into an error. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna try one more time, and here I am gonna click on this one, select. Okay. So it's currently installing. Let's see if this is gonna go through without throwing an error this time around. So this failed again, and that means we're going to go through the manual process as well. So here I'm going to download from the Microsoft official document sites, and here if I click on download, so it's good. It's always good practice to download the latest, updates. And so I'm going to look at the the latest update 454861. Okay, for 48, right? So I'm gonna select that. And download. Let's see how long it's gonna take to finish this up once. Why? Okay. So I'm gonna close this. Select this. It's finished downloading. Here. So I'm gonna select run. sometimes. Now preparing to install. So I'm gonna click on next, click on accept, click on next, and okay. So I need to select where to install this. So it's gonna be, what do I see? Okay, install it. Okay, say that my C drive doesn't have enough space, and so what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly look into what's if I go to my CDs, we have like, okay, 2 gig left on my C drive. So what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to create more space, then I'll come back and do that as well. So now that I've cleared some of my stuff on the PC, and I'm gonna go ahead and continue to install. And here, yeah, and here it gets started. Let's see if it's gonna go this time around. So I'm gonna install this, and I'm gonna come back. Okay, let's see. So now that it's done installing, so I'm gonna go finish. And go ahead. Okay. So what I'm gonna do here is to copy my the authentication key from the integration setup from the Azure service. So I'm gonna click here and click on copy. I'm gonna paste here, and here I'm gonna select register, and now we're done with this setup. Click on finish. Yeah, we can give it a name. Okay, can leave it a name. Then click on finish. Now, so what it's doing is establishing connection to the Azure portal. And here, once it's done again, I'm gonna pause. Then see, it's gonna take some time to do that. Great. So this is now we see that this has been installed and also connected to the service, the cloud service. So what I'm going to do next is to launch the configuration manager. So once you click on configuration manager, so as you can see, it's successful. It's successfully connected, and then we are done with this, integration runtime service on our PC. So the next thing I'm going to do is to go back to the Azure portal. So here I'm gonna select a runtime. Since I've set up the runtime, so I'm gonna do to refresh the page. As you can see here, and that is fine without, right? So now the next I'm gonna do is to populate the server name here. So here I have the server name for SQL server name. Put here, and here is the database. No, that's not this database name. Because our SQL, I'm gonna select, okay. And what are the method of authentication? And this is my username and my password. Gonna put my password here. And once that is done, I'm gonna click on create. Right. So that's fine. So I'm gonna select this once again. I'm gonna test the connection if it's actually successful. So once I click on that, so this will actually test to see our connection is successful. This time around it's failed. So what's the reason why for that? So here is saying the okay students cannot connect to this because contact it. Okay, so that means something's wrong with okay, so I'm gonna go back again to re-enter my credentials. Okay, so here I'm gonna see SQL, the SQL server name, and here I want to be sure that I'm doing the right thing. So once again, I'm going to enter the password and click on test again. Okay, this fails again. Okay, so we find out that this cause of the issue, and we need to check this box, and I mean this one. And once we check that, then we can be able to use our service principal to connect this. Yeah, I mean, okay, and so trust server certificates. So I think that's the cost of the user. So once I click on apply once again, I'm gonna click on this. Click on test connection. I'm gonna test this connection once again. So let's see what happened this time around to see if it's gonna be successful. Oh, that is done. Great one. So the next action we're gonna perform is to create a link service to our Dataverse as well, right? So then so click on this one, new. Here I'm gonna search for Dataverse. Click on Dataverse, click continue, and here we are going to select the auto resolve integration runtime this time around, because this is connecting from cloud to cloud service, right? So and that's purpose. So now I'm going to select the URL from here and populate the service URL, the organization URL that I wanted to. So now this I want to talk about the authentication types, right? So here you can select the service principal or Office 365 or user assign, right? So in this video, so we're going to use the service principal option, right? So in this case, that means that you must have, register, I mean, set up your app registration in the Azure portal already. So in this case, I'm going to select here. We've already set up this, right? And then so we'll be needing this to populate the service principal, right? So and so I'm going to drop you a link on how to if to set up the app registration for Dataverse, right? Now here, then the service principals ID, so that's the client's ID, and here I have my secret ID. Okay, so once that is done, once again I'm going to test connection to see wow, this is successful. So here it's going to be a Dataverse demo. Let's put it this way, then click on create. So this is done, right? So the next step that we're going to perform is the it's good to the auto. Now we're going to add our data set to the to this section. Now if I click on this, click on three dots, click on new data set. So first select our SQL, and here, so the data set is here is where the source we're setting up the source where we are bringing up the data, right? So earlier on we set up the link service. Here we're going to select the link service we created earlier, and here is going to be SQL. Okay, this is SQL table. You can leave it that name. So here I'm going to select my the table name. Okay, still loading. Now, so this is data student data, and here then you can click on OK. So that's fine. So I'm gonna do the same for the Dataverse. Dataverse. Okay, select entity, and here. So here I'm going to see the name, the entity, the table name. Populating the migrating the data tool, right? So it's going to be, we have our student table we've already prepared already, the Dataverse, and here, and one thing I need to also talk about here is the key here. So the keys, you need to set up the key for this migration purpose, right? So here, and let me click this one and select the table name. And here it's gonna be students form John. Then I'm gonna click on OK, and that is done again. So this is the setup. We've set up the Dataverse, I mean the data set already, and now we need to start, mapping them to the from the SQL, from SQL to the Dataverse as well, right? So here, if I scroll to the schema, you see that the schema is already imported up, and here it's going to show me all the columns that I have in my SQL Server table, right? So likewise, if I go to the connection here, I think we will just set test the connection. That's fine, right? So, and this doesn't show. Okay, this pick up the name automatically, right? So if you want to preview the error, let me see here what's going on there. Okay, so this is what we have in our Dataverse table right at the moment, and so we're going to close this one. So the next step is to go to pipeline. So I'm going to go to pipeline, click on new pipeline, and here I'm going to select copy data from here. So click on there, and this is where I will start to configure the set up the necessary requirement for Dataverse. So here, and I can say copy data. So I give it a name, just the name there, copy data, and here we have I'm going to select from the source, which is SQL. So here, I think we don't need to do anything extra from here, right? So then click on sync. Here, I'm going to select the destination to which you are, migrating the data to, right? So here it's select the offsite because we are creating a new, new set of data there. So here we have the key name. So the alternate key name is also things you want to consider when you are, migrating your data, right? So here I'm going to click on new. I'm going to select I'm going to use my ID because here in my SQL Server table as well, if I check on this, I have the same key, right? I have the ID there. There's the ID there as well. So click on here, click on table. Here. So here we have the student ID, and which I'm going to select and create the same key. I'm going to create a key for that in Dataverse because that ID also exists in the Dataverse table. All right. So click on save. So if I go back to my data factory, click on refresh, and here I have the key here. Next is to map the fields, right? The columns from the SQL to the to Dataverse. So if you click on import schemas, so this is going to show me all what we have from here, right? So here, if we click on this, so if we click on country, and here do we have a country in Dataverse. So here you're gonna have a country, select the country, and reference. We don't have a reference in Dataverse. We don't have a reference. So what I'm going to do, oh, okay, just give me a second. Yeah, okay. Select this and here. So here we can remove this. Strings, I'm going to collapse this, right? So I can have more space there. Okay, so email address. Email address there. Share then phone number. I'm also going to select ID. I'm going to select department. Departments. So I'm going to remove this because we don't have the operator field in Dataverse, right? So I'm going to select faculty as well. Faculty, and so I'm going to do all of this thing. I'm going to take pause, then I'm going to come back. So now that I'm done mapping, so what I'm going to do, right? Next time I'm going to add a trigger, right? So once I click on add trigger, okay, this is not. First of all, I need to publish all of them. It's just in order to save. So here, I'm gonna add a trigger. Click on new, and in the drop down, click on new trigger, and here. Okay, so we're gonna select the way we actually want it to run, right? So we're going to select schedule. So here you can select time zone that you want. So I'm gonna leave it here, and we want for the purpose of demo, right? For demo purpose, so we're gonna leave it at 15 minutes, every 15 minutes, but probably every 15 minutes. Yeah, that's fine. We can click on OK, and if that is done, and then we can click on OK as well. First, we need to publish. Then click on publish. So once this is published, and then we're going to trigger the flow, right? So click on now, click on trigger. The flow is not found here. Okay, so let's see. Right, so the trigger is currently running. Let's see. Okay. So the pipeline failed to run. So so we need to go in there to see what the issue is. Then okay, you can go to pipeline runs and see. Okay, so that's good. That's good. So see that this is run successfully. So Now let's go back to our Dataverse and see. So here we have our data. As you can see here, if I click on refresh, I can see the data published today. So and that's done. So this is very simple, right? So and you can have a complex scenario where you need to, you know, synchronize or integrate your SQL server or any other data sources to your to your to your to your destination, probably to Dataverse as well. So this is just a sample, one sample of one demo of which you can, or a scenario where you can use a data Azure Data Factory for your data migration. So and just one more thing, guys. If you go to manage, I just want to show you something here, right? So if we go to manage the integration runtime, as you can see from here, right? So we have the Azure integration runtime service and also the self-host service here that we set up earlier. So as you can see here, if you see the runtime service set up by the Azure cloud already, this is, accessible via the public, public network, right? So as you can see here, it's showing not showing anything here, but this is indicating that you can run your self-hosted service on your private network, right? So and so depending on your scenario, and if you uh, if you have an on-prem server and where you have your data, you can usually want to take you know the option of using the self-hosted runtime integration service, right? So all right, so I think this is where uh, we end today's demo, and see you next time, guys. Have a good day.